The secret to making drawing addictive. If drawing leaves you feeling discouraged instead of excited, this podcast is for you. When I was much younger, I discovered the pleasure of coding. I was addicted to it. I and others believed that you could only get good at something if you enjoyed doing it. And surely, I thought, I must have been enjoying it. Why else would I code so obsessively? But it turned out to be slightly more complex. I found that enjoying the activity is crucial, but not enough. There is more to it. Later, I wanted to return to drawing, which I had also done at a younger age. And while I enjoyed drawing a lot, I found it hard to keep the habit, to become obsessive. And it has taken me a long time to figure out why. In the next few minutes, I will show you the simple shift that makes drawing feel rewarding, so that you actually want to draw again tomorrow. There are a few steps to a habit. Let's take brushing your teeth as an example. I got this from the books by Charles Duhigg and James Clear, by the way. First, there is the trigger. This can be a place, a time of day, or an event. For brushing your teeth, it is all three. You are at home, it is evening, and the event is that it is time to go to bed. Then comes the craving for the end reward, a fresh feeling in your mouth. This, incidentally, is why they add nice taste to toothpaste. It is essential to the habit sticking. Then comes the habit, the brushing of your teeth. After that follows the anticipated result, the fresh feeling in your mouth. The habit is the activity you want to develop. In this example, the habit was to brush your teeth every day, but the habit you want to develop can also be that you want to draw every day. Let's go through that step by step. For an artist, the trigger, this could be seating yourself behind your desk or easel, or it could be making a cup of coffee. In her book, The Creative Habit, the choreographer Twyla Tharp mentioned that the trigger for her was to get into a cab. Everything else follows from that. She gets to the gym, works out to warm up her muscles, then goes to the studio to practice a dance with some dancers. But it all starts with getting into a cab. That is her trigger. It's a great book, by the way, well written and a pleasant read. But in truth, you tend to have less control over the trigger than you would like. Most people have day jobs or are taking care of children, and then it can become next to impossible to design a trigger for you that you can use consistently every day. Especially if you have young children, this can be challenging. You simply don't control your agenda. I always smile at the productivity gurus who say, do this first thing in the morning. They clearly don't have children. I found that it also isn't the most important part of the habit. If you have the most important thing down, the trigger will take care of itself. The most important part is the craving for the end result, which comes after the trigger. And this is where problems start for artists, because we tend to be our worst critics. We see mistakes in our work that others don't see, and that's demotivating. It prevents us from craving the end result. And we hesitate to start drawing and opt to procrastinate instead, looking online for the perfect pen or sketchbook, for example. The habit, the drawing, is the thing we want to do, but the end reward and consequent craving for it the next day is the thing we tend to miss because we're so hypersensitive to the mistakes in our own art. So what really actually matters the most is a good drawing habit to stick to is that you are completely enamored with the result at the end of your day. With coding, it was easier. I would code incessantly, my mind blown when I saw my code work on screen, and then I would code frantically some more. It was addictive. I'd jump out of bed the following day to continue where I had left off. And I didn't have that with my drawings. I saw all the mistakes, and that was demotivating. I think that with coding, I didn't see the mess of code I had written. I'd only see the cool things happening on screen. With drawing, it is different. You see the messy marks on the page. I realized only recently that part where you enjoy the end result was crucial. You get a dopamine hit from it, and that makes you crave that feeling you get again the next day. I now focus on what I like about my art. I love how sketchbook pages turn out, even if there are mistakes in the individual sketches. When I draw enough and I have something I am pleased with, I stop there. Programming isn't always fun. There are tedious chores, changing something everywhere or restructuring code. But in the end, you always have that result on the screen that blows your mind. If you listen to YouTube creators like Casey Neistat or Mr. Beast, they just love making cool videos from the start, long before YouTube became a cool thing. They just loved bringing these videos to life, and you can tell they still do. They do burn out and take breaks, but they come back. They just love seeing their own videos. Our brain notices the flaws and feels down about it, so drawing sessions end with frustration instead of reward. And the next day, you don't quite crave experiencing the same thing. If you were to find a way to be happy with a result at the moment you stopped, that would trigger a dopamine hit, making you want to do that again. But for artists, that kind of win is harder to come by, making keeping a drawing habit that bit harder. I found that this could happen with programming too. I ended with an unsolved problem at the end of the day. Fortunately, that didn't happen often. The secret is to stop at a good point. If you look at a drawing or a sketchbook page and you like how it came out, stop there. Make sure you finish something or a stage in a process so that you can feel a sense of closure. and feel the dopamine hit from that. Break up a bigger task into smaller ones you can finish and feel satisfied about. Take a break, enjoy the dopamine hit, and return to drawing later or the next day. Instead of grinding until you hate the result, stop when it looks good. And then the next day, you are more likely to pick up the pen or pencil because yesterday felt rewarding. This is also one reason why social media is so destructive for creative habit. The likes and follows, the engagement with your content will never feel enough, which means you end the day on a low note. You post something to a lukewarm reception. Casey Neistat and Mr. Beast won't let that get to them. They love the videos they are making. It's the distinction between an internal and external motivator. When you make things that blow your own mind, you have control over that. You can keep making that thing that keeps blowing your mind. When you start becoming dependent on external motivators, like followers, likes, customers, or publishers liking your work, you don't control that, and their rejection can be demotivating. We should envy kids. They draw, but they don't see the mistakes. They see their drawing, their version of something, and it blows their mind. Try to find ways to draw things that blow your mind, and the habit will form. You will become obsessive about doing that kind of thing every day. Check out the Practice Drawing This website, where I host lots of drawing practice resources which you cannot find anywhere else. Thank you for listening.